What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that entourage, we've reached out to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And Ryan hasn't had a change. Ryan's not here with us today, but we are blessed because it is actually her monthly visit with us. Emma Ansah, what is up?
Hey, everybody.
What's
I'm
going
happy to
on?
be here on this glorious Monday morning.
Yeah, what's been going on? So good to have you. What's been going on in your world since we last saw you?
Oh, well, the news is newsing. It never ever stops. So, the journalist work is still going strong. And, we're working on some wonderful projects that we're going to get into today.
Nice. What have you been covering? What has been of your interest, news, cultural wise, over the last few weeks?
Well, when it comes to anti-Black racism, that's my main focal point. And there's no shortage of news where that's concerned. So that is my passion. That's what I pursue. It is the pursuit of happiness, in a sense,
Yes, yes.
exposing the, injustices against our people.
What has been one or two stories that you have reported on that have really caught your interest over the last few weeks?
Well, there was one that is really caught my interest, and it's something that's going on here in Ontario. There is a group of white extremists that have created a fight club, and they go to different gyms, mostly independent gyms, and they operate under the guise that they're just training, right? And
Right.
what they're doing is they are putting together a group to get ready for a race war. I'm not really sure who they're warring. Yes. Oh, yes. There's even one of the independent gyms in Welland, Ontario, which is in the Niagara region where I am, that they train at. So that's one that's been very interesting that I've been following. Then there's also the one that I'm sure everybody has heard about, the 14-year-old teen by the name of Kimari Wint, who stabbed a 71-year-old woman when
Yes.
he tried to steal her vehicle while she was loading her groceries. And he has been apprehended. So I'm following the story to see what's going to happen, because I do know he's been charged with second-degree murder, and they are moving to try him as an adult. So I've been following that story. I did cover it as well. One of the other stories that I covered was a situation with, I guess it's called Sukur Madam. And these are women in their 40s to 70s located in Libya, and they are abducting young African men, and they are sex trafficking them, and they are basically having their way with them. They hold them at gunpoint. They threaten them that if they don't comply, they are going to accuse them of SA. And then with that, they'll end up getting unalived. So they end up being their slave, if you will, as long as they want them to, and then they eventually just dump them somewhere, and it's just a whole bad situation. So I've covered that story. I've interviewed some of the young African men that are victims of it. So that was a pretty huge story. So those are the three that stand out to me right now.
It's interesting in the light of what's going on with the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga that sex trafficking also involves women trafficking men.
Yes. And a lot of people don't realize that, or at least you don't see a lot of news about that. But yes, it is a thing, and it's a big thing in Libya. And the thing about the women in Libya is most of them are widowed, or their husband left them, and they are very, very wealthy and powerful, and they have law enforcement in their back pocket. So these young men can't even go to the authorities because it doesn't even go anywhere. So it's more about making sure we raise awareness for the young men that live there or the young immigrants that migrate there to be very careful, the things to watch for. When you're going to look for work, do not accept any work from these women. It's a lot of that we're trying to make sure that they're educated.
You are on the front line of Black media in Canada. What do you feel is the state of Black media in Canada?
Well, I listen. We're all trying to do our thing. We're all trying to do our thing. However, I do think there's a lot of Black media that toes the line and tries to keep it safe and cute, and that's fine if that's your brand and your platform. I prefer to expose and report on what's going on, that you don't see in mainstream media. That's sort of our area.
Nice. I know it's summertime, and I know you love culture. Have you
Yes.
have you been to any fun or enjoying cultural events over the summertime?
you know I haven't been to enough.
Okay, okay.
There is one coming up that I'm very passionate about. Segue into the Toronto Pan African Film Festival that's coming up August 14th to 17th.
Yeah,
We're going to be talking about that further, and
yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
There is, as we record this, coming or broadcasting this live, coming up this weekend, we have Caravana. What are your thoughts about the state of Caravana?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't gone in decades. I think the last time I went was when it was still along is it University Avenue.
Right?
Do you remember? I'm about to date myself, but
you're not
literally,
you're not the only person that's told me this.
that was like in the 90s. That's the last time I ever went. And that's when it was actually called Caravana, right? It's no longer called that. And it's not owned by our community anymore, right? So the state of it, honestly, because I haven't been and I've been so unplugged from it because it really isn't something that interests me anymore. Um, I pitch that to you. What do you think the state of it is? I mean, I know for me, it's become much more commercialized from what I can see. And, it's moved. There seems to be some restrictions and barriers and things like that. I just don't know if the feel of it is the same. The spirit of it is the same anymore. That's what I would say.
Yeah, for myself, like you, I haven't been at that event for a long time, and obviously, it's not something I'm interested. But I think the whole area of ownership and yeah, it seems to have lost its original base, its original thought process. And people know me if they know me a little bit. I don't call it Caravana, I call it a Marabana because if it wasn't for Americans coming up, it'd be interesting to see how many Americans come this year. But if it wasn't for Americans, they wouldn't get it. And I just feel that our environment doesn't get enough of the economic rewards from it. And I had heard, again, I'm not plugged in enough anymore, but I was hearing rumors that uh, they're even thinking about moving it to Downside Park. I heard rumors. I don't know if that's happening this year, but also, over the years, it's more important or more expensive to buy costumes and all that sort of thing. So I don't know.
It used to be that, well, in regards, first of all, I'll address the Maribana thing. I, with everything that's going on with the trade wars, the tariff tit for tat, and things like that, I'm not sure either how many Americans will come because I know right now there's not a really great love relationship going on anymore. However, I do think that, it's something that a lot of Americans look forward to. So I think that there'll be, a great many of them that will come through for sure. As far as where it's moving, I can't even imagine it at Downsview, but okay. So does that mean it's not going to be down by the harbor? I think that's the harbor front is where it is.
No, actually, it was Lakeshore.
A lakeshore. See, I can't. That's to tell you
Yes.
how so far removed I am from it. But also, funding in general has been a challenge too for a lot of organizations. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's going to be like, but I do know that there's always an audience for it, and there's a lot of people I'm sure that are looking forward to it. They're getting their gear together,
Hmm.
and also the pre-carnival things people love as well, like the I don't know what that kind of show they do where everybody's in costumes and stuff like that. A lot of people look forward to that. So I don't know. I think it probably will be nice again.
Okay. All right.
Won't be going, but
Enough about all these events. We're going to take a 30-second break. We'll do some housework, and then we're going to have a special friend come and talk about the Toronto Pan African Film Festival that's coming up. So we'll be back in 30 seconds. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here. These are two ladies. They're not all over the place. They're forward and they're straight shooters.
I got to stand in front.
No wonder people don't understand what the Democrats have been doing. That man lied 36,000 times, and we know this because you all counted it.
This is part of the story that a lot of news outlets are not talking about. All right, we are back on the Morning Vibe with Dr. Vibe and our special friend Emma Ansah on the Morning Vibe today. And let's get down to some business. So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow Dr. Vibe on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Also join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com, or click on the link that's on your screen, also in most of the comment sections where you're watching this live or in the replay. And also advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of. Again, email me. And then can't forget Indie Soup TV, independent content creators platform powered by our good friend Dr. Tachi out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Been around for about 16, 17 months and almost has 28,000 subscribers. I am one of those. Subscribe. Yeah, I'm a subscriber and also I'm a content creator on the platform and also a member of the advisory board. And that's that. Emma dropped a little thing a few moments ago about the Toronto Pan African Film Festival. So let's show you a little bit of what it's about right now.
We invite you to the 3rd annual Toronto Pan African Film Festival. Rhythm, the heartbeat of Black music and storytelling, taking place at the First Unitarian Center at 473 Oakwood Avenue in Little Jamaica, featuring Play It Loud, Box Cutter, King's Court, Paid in Full, Sounds and Pressure, Amplify, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, Zeke, and Hip Hop Story. And join us for the African Diaspora Media Brunch, taking place on August 17th at the Aqua Supper Club, featuring Philip Scott from the African Diaspora News Channel. Get your tickets now by visiting tpath.com.
All right, there she is, our friend Lori Beezer, Executive Festival Director. You just need to unmute yourself, Lori.
Find it. Am I unmuted? Yes, you can hear me.
Woo-hoo! Live and clear, and so great to have you this morning. How you doing?
Great. I'm doing great. Hi, beautiful one, Emma. We're almost here.
Hello, my sister. Hello.
We're almost here.
Fantastic.
Great to be here, Dr. Vibe.
Pleasure to have you. Pleasure of our conversations over the last few weeks. First of all, a little bit of background about yourself, and then we'll get right into the festival.
Okay, so who am I? So, name is Lori Beezer, and I do a lot of programming out there in Little Jamaica. I brought the Afro Caribbean Farmers Market and Toronto Paddy Festival. And so kind of broadened the reach a little bit, and have included something called the Toronto Pan African Film Festival to help animate Little Jamaica. We know how that's been affected lately, by Metrolinx. So my projects really help to anchor the culture in Little Jamaica. So we're doing our third year, something really spectacular in Little Jamaica. Yeah, I know. The film festival's awesome.
Okay.
It is awesome. Yes.
So Emma is working with Lori on this epic event, but Emma, you're more than welcome to answer questions also. So don't hang out in the background. But then my next conversation piece, Lori, is how did it start?
It started because there was funding available. I'm not in the arts. I'm not in the arts, but what I found is that let's create another space outside of food. Like I said, I run the farmers market. I expanded a little bit, bringing another food festival. So I wanted to step away a little bit and anchor art. So I thought about it, and bingo, bango, voila, here we are. The cultural hotspot was in Little Jamaica in 2022 and 2023. They're a division of the city that goes to different pockets of Toronto, sets up shop for about 2 years, pulls in community to help anchor art and the arts. So they were in Little Jamaica in 2022. I jumped in 2023, proposed a film festival, and here we are. We've been able now to continue for 3 years,
Wow.
and we're back. Yeah, bigger and better and bolder and full of rhythm,
That,
full of it.
how did you and Emma cross paths?
I was at her husband's concert. But
Yeah.
before then, Toronto Patty Fest, I expanded it into an evening event called, Motown at Sundown.
I
And
love that
Carlos
title.
was performing last year in 2023. No, 2024. Right, Emma?
Motown.
That's where we met, but we didn't really connect. But I do remember her. And this year, Carlos was yeah, I'm a Carlos groupie. I am. I'm a Carlos Morgan groupie. So he was performing, and of course Emma was there, and
And we had a conversation, and it was just a passing conversation where I was planning something, and then we just started talking, and then she's like, well, let's do it together. And so what I was planning on bringing Philip Scott, who is the founder, CEO, major mega media mogul of African Diaspora News Channel, Emancipation Media, the Philip Scott Show, the Philip Scott podcast, headquartered in Houston. And I was trying to bring him down for a meet and greet weekend. And I just had this passing conversation. And then Lori was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then the next thing you know, we were meeting and planning. And here we are. We managed to put together a beautiful, beautiful weekend. It's going to be a great time. And we encourage everybody to come out. And as Lori touched on, and I'm just going to echo, is, the gentrification that's taking place in Little Jamaica. So I love the fact that that's where it's going to be housed for the most part, with the exception of the 17th. And, the community needs to come out, support, pour into the community. We can't allow erasure to happen.
and it's free. Like, the festival is free,
Yeah.
except for our film and media brunch at the Aqua Supper Club on Sunday, where we wrap. But the gala is free. The other screenings on Friday and Saturday are free. So you can't be cheap. Like, if you want to take a chick out on a date, this is perfect, right? You get your tickets. I do have a little bit of a cook shop happening in the site as well. So you can grab something to eat. I have vendors. So it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Come on out. Just check us out, tpaf.com, get your tickets, figure out what movies you want to see. Hopefully, all of them. It's all free.
Okay.
And then on the 17th, you get the another free. It's a beautiful brunch that we're going to be having, and then you got a fashion show by this amazing Sierra Leone fashion designer. It's called Fab Boutique. Then we're going to have another film screening, and then we're going to have panels where we're going to have amazing Canadian talent in film and media, including our one and only Dr. Vibe, who will be on panel offering gems. And then we have, Philip Scott coming from Houston. It's his first time in Toronto, and we have a massive Toronto audience that tunes in every day. So come on out, and like Lori said, if you were taking out your lady on a date, you would spend more than the ticket price. So, and you're getting a lot more for that ticket price, aside from the fact that you had it free for 3 days. So come on, what are we waiting for here?
Right.
What are we talking about?
All right. All right. So Fitness IQ Cam says morning. So good to have you here this morning, Fitness IQ Cam. And also Office of Tim Frey. Morning, everybody says morning, everyone. Tim, I did get your message. I will respond to it today. So don't worry, I'm gonna get to it. Lori, let me ask, can you cycle back to the first film festival and some memories you have from them there?
Cycling to the first one. I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it. I did it. Um, we were in the various libraries in Little Jamaica, just going back and forth. I just chose films that were available that spoke to what what our position is, and we stand on four pillars, and that's African liberation, African spirituality, Black displacement, Black exploitation. So these are the kinds of uncomfortable stories that anchor the Toronto Pan African Film Festival. So we were just pulling films, putting it together, bingo, bango, voila. And then, you see what's happening. You see where do you want and how do you want to move forward with the festival. And the second year again became a themed one. That was the very first one where I was able to theme it. I had the time to really think, and last year it was all about her. So it was films that anchored Black female storytelling, and in this third year again we've anchored it with music. So the very first one was just an idea, a pilot, to figure out how do we move it forward. And I think as we've learned, as I've learned, it's becoming a lot more structured. And this year, from the very first year, I know people will see a huge difference and feel a huge difference. Mind you, I have a fantastic producer with me now, Emma, who has just been, I couldn't pay for her services. Let's just put it that way. And she's here and she's really putting things together, seeing things through a different lens, and just structuring the program uh, a lot, a lot more structured than I could have. And I thank her for that, like from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
I got you, sis. We're
I
putting
know you
together a
do.
beautiful event.
I know you do. I know you do.
So let me ask, what
Mhm.
is in the process of what films are being shown at this year's event or even in the past? What is that process? Because it's just like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. What is the process in saying, okay, we're going to show this and the reasoning why these films are going to be shown this year?
Mhm. So, like I'd mentioned, they kind of have to fit the four pillars, you know, Black spirituality, you know, Black liberation, Black exploitation, Black displacement. These are the things, the uncomfortable stories. That's what Toronto Pan African Film Festival is. We're not Hollywood, never planned to be Hollywood, not interested. This is about our stories and our storytelling. And typically, our storytelling comes from very uncomfortable places that I've noticed. that a lot of our Black filmmakers are able to tell their stories. It's from difficult spaces. I don't know. What do you think, Emma? Do you agree? Like you're more with the artists, but from someone that's outside of the arts. I know what I want to see when I go to a film. What I want to see, experiencing film.
Yeah, I mean it's lockstep with the theme, right? Which is about rhythm, and it's our people telling the stories.
Yeah,
So I absolutely agree that it is. You know, I just can't even imagine who wouldn't be interested in these stories, particularly as it falls in that theme of rhythm, the theme of music that shapes our soul. And when you think about music and you think about Black people and Black musicians in Canada, every one of them can tell you a story
absolutely. And
of
it's not a pleasant one for the good
exactly
majority of them. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I
right.
mean, if you come out to our opening night gala, we're screening the film "Play It Loud," and it chronicles the life of our beloved Jay Douglas, who is significantly anchored in the Little Jamaica community. And it talks about him coming to Canada in the 60s, 50s, and 60s and bringing the music. Before it was even reggae, it was ska, right? And he talks about getting into these establishments and how difficult it was. And I'm not going to say too much more, but these are the stories, and a lot of our films and our stories come from a place of challenge, a lot of challenge, especially here in Toronto. We're still challenged, and it's still a challenge. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think the challenge will ever go away, but these are our stories, and we honor our stories. And this is what the Toronto Pan African Film Festival is all about: is honoring our stories and our storytellers.
Exactly. And just to echo on that, listen, this isn't TIFF, right? So
Yeah,
again, it's a community event. It's free and it's in Little Jamaica. And as I said before, there, we're going through some challenges in that community. So it's really important that our community comes out to support this event and really just enjoy these stories and really get a sense of history of what Black musicians have gone through, the good, the bad, the ugly truth. And it's just going to be a beautiful event, a vibe. You get to walk the black carpet, take pictures, network, meet people, connect. You'll be able to find people that you could collaborate with. This is just artistic excellence in one room for an entire weekend. It doesn't get any better than that,
indeed,
really.
indeed.
For both of you, what would make a successful film festival this year? Do you have any measurements of what would be successful this year's film festival?
Attendance. How did we reach? Like, did we reach people? So we look at that through the attendance. I know for me and the analytics, as the executive festival director, I'm looking at the analytics. I want to see bums in seats. I need to know, right? And how did we reach you?
Mm.
So that for
I
me,
agree.
the analytics is important for me.
Yes,
It
attendance,
comes to,
attendees,
yeah,
and the takeaway, right? Like we love to hear from our audience members. How did you feel about this? Well, what did you feel about this festival? I always say that word of mouth is one of the best forms of advertisement, right? So I want to hear from the people. I want to see, how some celebrities who have a movie coming out will sneak into the theater and they'll be sitting in the back and because they want to see how the audience is connecting with what the story is and stuff like that. So I want to see that too. I want to hear from the people. So attendance, attendees, audience feedback, the overall vibe, how everybody's feeling, taking it in, the actual artists, the ones who put out this hard work, how they feel, all of that for me.
Excellent. All right. Well, I know Lori has to run because she doesn't have anything to do with her life. Producer Matt, if you can just put up information about the film festival on the screen in regards to the website, the Instagram, email, and then also more, just as important, if not more important, where people can buy tickets. The link would be great to have up there. So though that's the information, and whatever platform you're watching this on replay I'm part of, information's in the comment section. We'll certainly be promoting it as this epic event comes up. Lori, do you have any final words for us? Yeah,
Final words are the 3 days is Afrocentric summer stylish. You got to come down, dress to impress, have fun, enjoy free film, and honor Black film.
wonderful. All right. Well, look, have a great rest of the day. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
You shall.
All right.
Bye, Emma.
Take care. All right. That is it. So that was wonderful. So is that film festival keeping you busy, young lady Emma?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, it is. But you know what? I always say you don't work a day in your life if you're doing what you love.
All right.
So even though I'm busy and I'm working, I am doing things that I'm passionate about. So for me, it's good work. It's busy. It's good busy.
It's hard work, not hard work, right?
Eggs. Oh, I love that. I'm going to use that one.
Okay. More than happy to. All right. So, family, we are going to transition to another conversation topic that I think may elicit some comments. So, for those people who may or may not know, the name Shannon Sharpe, ex NFL football player. I think he's a member of the Hall of Fame. And then, got into the podcasting business over the last few years with his club Shay Shay, that which I guess one of the most notable things from that platform is the infamous interview with Cat Williams, which I believe the last I checked has had over 90 million views on YouTube. Well, Mr. Sharpe seems to be, and he's 55 years old in fantastic physical shape. I'll just say physical shape. There's other shapes that you can be in. And a few months ago, I guess it's a 19-year-old lady who's an OnlyFans model, released some media, I think it was recordings of her and Shannon having conversations that were a little bit okay. And then she ended up suing him in regards, I don't know the exact charge, and maybe I'll look it up while we're having the conversation today. For a lot of money, Mr. Sharpe offered her $10 million to settle. She said no. And then as it was going to trial over the last few weeks, it seems that this has been settled. And the speculation is that Mr. Sharpe has given this lady around $20 million to settle. I thought it'd be good to have Emma and I had a short little chat about this a few weeks ago. I said, no, Emma, stop. Let's wait for you to come on and we'll go full in it, because we could have went on for an hour and a half. I said, no, we got to save this for the audience for your next appearance. So that's why we're chatting about it today. So if anyone has comments on this, please put them in the chat. I've got one or two polls when I see there's some engagement going on. But Emma, what's your opening thoughts on this interesting situation?
Well, first of all, it was the timing for me, because I know that an announcement came where he was signing a deal for 120 million, and then all of a sudden, this OnlyFans model is suing him, right, for SA. Now, I'm not excusing him. Okay, you make your decisions, and life happens. But from what I heard, it was 23 million. So I know she was suing for 50 million and they settled for 23. And then she conveniently came out and said, I'm now retiring as an OnlyFans model, because I guess
She got her bag.
She got
her bag.
Yeah. So My thoughts on that is, let this be a lesson to a lot of our brothers to be very careful about conversations you have, text messages, all of those kinds of things, because these ladies out here are no joke, okay? They are no joke. And I find a lot of them are very cunning and they pick their moment to when they're going to pounce. And they hold on to those receipts until their moment comes. And as far as I'm concerned, that moment came when she heard 120 million.
Well, number of things I'll put out there. As I heard from someone a while back, don't hang around with people that have less to lose than you. And another thing too is, I'm just putting out there, Shannon, and actually I've heard now there's another suit coming up against him. I've heard now that's coming up. But and you mentioned in your thoughts a few moments ago, this be a warning to our brothers. This is going to happen again. It has happened before and it will happen again. I don't know what it will take for that measure, but wasn't there a film many years ago called Risky Business? I think it was. Yeah, I would say relations are very much challenging, but there's a relationship thing, there's a potential racial aspect in this also. There's so many different layers, but Shannon, uh you made your bed and you slept in it. But even more ironic though, from the Cat Williams interview, there was the famous line. Did he say if you hang out with a lady for a weekend, could kill your career? Something to that extent. I don't know. But Emma, come on back in.
Oftentimes a lot of these, celebrities, athletes, etc., feel like when you get with somebody like, an OnlyFans model or a working girl, if you will, that they're safe because, they don't have to worry. These people aren't going to speak about anything. This is their profession, right? And I think it's so unfortunate that somebody who is 55 years old and who's in the media scape, maybe he talks about sports and things like that, but even with this podcast, you're in the media scape. I'm sure he's got his finger to the pulse of what goes on in the news. So why would you allow yourself as a 55-year-old man to get taken down by an 18-year-old? That's what kills me. That's what really kills me. And the fact that he settled does admit some semblance of guilt because there was some report about him saying that there's some private things that he doesn't want out. So he's like, let me just settle this one time. And like you said, oftentimes, if you see one mouth in your house, there's more than one. So I think more people will come out because they see, oh, this woman got 23 million. Let me go see what I can get now. You know what I mean? So I don't think that it's over for him, sadly. And like you said, there are a lot of men that still engage in this kind of activity. And what I will say to them is you had better start running because it's not going to be a good time for you because these ladies out here, they're not joking.
Well, just in the comments, yeah, just in the comments section here, Just Tornado. Haven't seen you for a while, Just Tornado. Hope you are doing fine and safe. Good to see you as always. Watch on the YouTube channel. And Fitness IQ Cam, great question. How many warnings do these guys need?
I don't even think there's a number, to be honest. I don't think a number exists because if I were a black man and I saw this happening to people that I've been, big fans of, that I've worked with, that are, as far as I'm concerned, when you hear Stephen A. Smith talk about Shannon Sharpe, he's a great guy and all those other things. And I see what's going on, I would be super careful about who I'm dealing with. And I'd be really careful about how I communicate. So I don't think there's a number. I truly don't.
When you first heard about this lawsuit, what was your initial reaction?
Another one bites the dust. That was the first thing that came to my mind. And I will tell you, I wasn't surprised either. I mean, nothing surprises me anymore. And maybe it's because I'm a journalist. Maybe it's because I see so much. But talking on the vein of this, I'm not surprised. I mean, there's so many cases like this, and there's probably more cases than we know. Not probably. There are more cases than we know. It's just when you have people that are in the public eye, it blows up, right? So you see it everywhere. But I wasn't surprised. So my initial reaction was, oh no, another one.
There's so many different avenues I can go on this. I'm just trying to think which one I'm going to go down. Okay, we'll go down this one. So what do you have to say for our brothers who get themselves potentially in these situations that can go the wrong way? There's also an aspect. Well, I'll just start with that. I can go on. There's another direction I'm going to go, but I just want to get your take on that first.
What does it say about our brothers?
Yeah.
Well, what it says is there needs to be some introspection. There needs to be some inner work to figure out, why, using Shannon Sharpe again as an example, at the age of 55, do you not want to just settle down with somebody that's at least in your demographic? I'm sure there are some very successful women that, have integrity, have class, have tact, have, a good work ethic, are God fearing, all of the, basic attributes that people look for in a partner. So the question begs for me when I see somebody that age that wants to get with young OnlyFans people, I think there needs to be some inner work to ask yourself, well, why don't I want to at this point in my life? I mean, you're on the other side of it now, okay? You're on the other side of it. So our lifespan starts to shrink. So do you not want to have, a family, a legacy? I'm sure he maybe has a legacy. I don't want to assume he doesn't. But how long are you going to just be chasing young people that really, what do you really have in common once you leave the bedroom?
Wow, I love. I like how you put it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like when you listen to those audio clips, it begs to question, what really do you have in common with this person? What conversations are you having about being a Black man and Black causes and things that go on against our community? Like, what is the point of that? So for me, I'm really long-winded with this. It's just these are the conversations that I have with people, off this platform, and just saying, what's wrong with you? You need to really look at that, and that goes for all brothers who are engaging in this kind of activity. When you're like 50, why? Ask yourself that question. Look in the mirror and say, why am I living my life like this? And how can I live my life better? Because this man has gone on record and said some negative things about Black women. Okay.
Yes, he has.
So that's the other question you want to ask yourself is, so you are trashing Black women, but you're with an OnlyFans model who has now taken you down? So again, there are a lot of questions. There's a lot of inner work that needs to be done with brothers who engage in this kind of activity.
Okay. All right, people, gonna put up a poll for if you're watching on YouTube. Let's see if we can get this going here. But we do have a question. It's interesting. People are really quiet. They're not talking a lot. So I don't know if Mr. Sharpe has had influence on y'all, but if you're watching on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, have a poll for you. Should Shannon Sharpe return back to TV? 1, yes. 2, no. 3, maybe. 4, don't care. Myself and Emma are in the media game. Or no, well, it's just the environment. It is a game too. At a lot of times, it is a game. Emma, do you feel we'll see him in the future back on major television? Because he was before this scandal on ESPN, number one sports entertainment network in the United States. He had a contract for his show Club Shay Shay on the Volume, which I think is still going on, but he lost a lot of money on upcoming deals, as you mentioned earlier, because of this scandal. Do you think we'll see him on major media again in the near future?
Well, if we're going to talk about ESPN, ESPN is Disney. Does Disney want to relinquish their squeaky queen or squeaky clean Mickey Mouse image? I personally believe everybody deserves a second chance.
Oh, okay.
I believe everybody deserves a second chance. It just depends on what you do with that second chance. So whether or not ESPN under Disney chooses to give him that second chance, I personally think it's doubtful. But he has his podcast,
Yeah.
and I think that he has the opportunity to really continue to be really successful on that. Also, I think if he was able to land a good interview with like I don't know, I'm trying to think of one really important anchor, like, I don't know, an Oprah or a Gail or somebody that's Black, preferably. I think it would. I think that would do really well, and that would give him a chance to speak. And people love to hear and connect to those emotional hooks, right? Like, talk about what's in your heart. Talk about why you did what you did. Talk about what you're doing to sort of redeem yourself. Like, talk about your atonement, your accountability. People like to hear that kind of thing. And then with that, people can, find a way to give this man some grace. But back to ESPN, I personally think it's doubtful. I know he's supposed to be going back in the fall, is it?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's
Yeah.
happening now. He said he was going to be back for the beginning of football season. I don't know if I see that happening.
Well, that's my whole point, right? I don't know if ESPN is ready to give him that second chance.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see him in the near future. I think, yeah, and especially with Disney in that sort of situation, and very interesting. ESPN's major competitor in the sports entertainment facet, Fox, where Shannon Sharpe was at before he went to ESPN. He left there to go to ESPN. But interesting enough, they have gone through their own sex scandal with a lady named Joy Taylor and others. And Joy Taylor, they did not renew her contract. And they basically let her go. They let a number of people go from the network, but she was the people that, okay, because I don't know if there's a lawsuit going on right now, but some of her comments and behaviors, we'll just leave it there. Okay, so we got a comment here. Office of Tim Frey says legacy media is not where everyone aims to be anymore. I'm sure Shannon is fine with digital media. So there you go.
That's what I'm saying. I think he'll be fine with Club Shay Shay will continue to do well. And it would also do well again if he was to go on and talk about this experience. I think people would love to hear that. I'm sure his views would go through the roof again.
Yeah, I know that he has his core fans that are going to love him no matter what. The thing is, and I guess with his numbers, he'll still be able to get good advertising revenue. But it will be interesting to see what that looks like compared to what it was a year and a half ago. I'm sure the revenue from advertising has gone down. other lens I'd like to get your take on. Okay, so Fitness IQ Cam says TV like ESPN. You mashed it up, but other platforms will take him. So she feels that other platforms will take him. All right. What do you feel about the media's handling of him being a black man in this situation?
Well, if we were going to do comparisons, um, if we were to do an apples to apples comparison with somebody that was, a palm colored person that's in the same situation, what would have happened to him? How would have he been treated? So when we talk about, I don't know, like a Matt Lauer, for example, he was exiled, but he got a whole bunch of money before they let him go, right? So was he treated the same? I mean, I guess. I guess he was treated the same. I think the only difference is he didn't get a massive payout. That $120 million deal, he didn't get, I don't believe, unless I'm wrong, I don't believe he got a cut off of that.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, he said he was taking a leave from ESPN. I don't know if there was any financial or that. I don't know if ESPN. I think he left before ESPN said, you know what, you got to take some time off, or you got. I don't think they cut off, which is interesting. I don't know if they terminated his contract, which is very interesting. I have to do some research. I don't know what is his contractual status with ESPN right now, so that'd be interesting. Hayden Morrison says, this is a brother with a psychological problem issue. I don't know if there is a fix for that.
Well, like I said, I think the work is between him and God and maybe a therapist. But just going back to the question about how he is treated as a black man, well, I do think, he was lambasted and slammed from every race. Okay. Like literally our people, white people, everybody was like, oh, Shannon, you're trash. But I think also too, from the black community, I feel like people were harder on him because of the way he spoke about black people or black women anyway. I had a clip and I should have actually provided that to you ahead of time, but I had a clip where he was literally saying, people keep telling you to go for your age. And he was like, well, what do you, and, go for a black woman or whatever. And he was like, well, what do you got to offer? What do you got to offer? And my thing is, what does an OnlyFans got to offer you? Right. So I think he really was, he was trashed pretty badly.
So I just pulled up an interesting article from a website called Awful Announcing, which is a pretty they cover announcers, media people, and I'm just going to read a little bit of the take here. So Sharpe was named in a $50 million sexual lawsuit, and instead of trying to deal with it quietly, he made a controversial decision to fight publicly, even naming his accuser. After more public back and forth, which included text messages and voicemails, Shannon Sharpe decided to stay away from ESPN while continuing the legal battle. Given the seriousness of the allegations and the ugliness that ensued, it appeared that Sharpe's ESPN days were numbered, and his burgeoning media empire might be teetering. Just last month, former ESPN personality Dan Le Batard went on record to say Sharpe will never likely return to the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN. Quote, we probably know all at this point that Shannon Sharpe is not likely ever to work at ESPN, right? I think we can reasonably assume that Shannon Sharpe would like it to look like he has a chance to return, unquote, said Le Batard. Quote, I don't know if you can be a Disney and allow any of what happened here. But now the occasion has changed, as Tony Busby, the lawyer for Sharpe's accuser, announced that there was a settlement in the suit and the lawsuit would be dismissed. So the language in Busby's statement, which I'm not going to read, the language in Busby's statement seems to fare well for Sharpe and the acknowledgement of a, quote, consensual, unquote, yet, quote, tumultuous, unquote, relationship. And the dismissal of the lawsuit brings Sharpe's legal troubles to a close. So what's next? Given that ESPN is still owned by Disney, the company could very well come on an understanding that it's better to have Sharpe quietly stay away. He hasn't been on ESPN airways since April, and with a new football season around the corner, the network has a deep bench to call upon for First Take, which is their premier daytime show, where Sharpe only appeared a couple of days a week. The memories of the accusations and how Sharpe chose to handle them just won't disappear. But there's more evidence that ESPN would welcome Sharpe back in the weeks and months to come. Stephen A. Smith, who's their top personality on their platform, who makes about $15 to $20 million a year, has previously voiced his support for Sharpe, hoping that his co-star would return in time for the football season. If Smith wants Sharpe back for First Take, it would be very difficult for ESPN to sell their $100 million man, and that he can't. So that's how much Sharpe makes, not Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith makes. And with Sharpe not found liable in any way and the lawsuit dismissed with prejudice, there would appear to be no legal roadblocks in return. And then there is a new ESPN philosophy. ESPN is invested in star power, and Shannon Sharpe is a star. And odds are, when it comes to football season this fall, they will want their star back on First Take again.
Well, first of all, I'm even questioning the on leave thing. I'm wondering if it wasn't a conversation and they said, well, let's just frame it this way. That's the first thing. Secondly, I feel like they could take somebody like a Shaq or, another basketball player like a Charles Oakley and fill that position. And then I also feel like if by the grace of God, Shannon Sharpe was allowed back, I just feel like people just can't unsee or unhear everything that was said on that audio recording. I feel like it's going to follow him like a dark cloud, even though everything is settled. And I guess the dust is settled, if you will. I just don't know if that dust will leave him. And I think that's probably what ESPN is thinking. Okay, if we bring him back, will the audience focus on what's going on with sports, or are we just going to be flooded with why is he back? And, just the constant talk about this OnlyFans model, So I just feel like, do they want that dark cloud, or are they just trying to stay far away with their umbrella?
Okay. So just to add on to what you're saying, Shaq and Charles Oakley are basketball, so Shannon Sharpe is football. But I hear where you're coming from. Can they get other people? The question is, can they get other people with the star power? And that's the thing that, let's say the majority of viewers of ESPN are men. And are they going to be forgiving? Will they only care about what his entertainment value and when he talks about football, because he does have knowledge about it, more than his private life? Well, which has become public.
Yeah, I just meant I was using a Shaq or a Charles Oakley in the sense of their reach.
Yeah.
But okay, if we're gonna do football, Tom Brady, just bringing in a new person. Tom Brady recently retired. Did he? Yes.
Yes, but he signed to Fox on a huge contract. But go on.
See, I wish I was more of a football.
No. It doesn't matter. You're
saying like a retired, like a retired football player that doesn't have, some sort of scandal attached to them.
Right.
I think that they would bring. I think they would rather take that risk than Shannon Sharpe being back there.
Right. So we have some comments here. Fitness IQ Cam says, he said, I don't go for my age, I go for my wage. And she also says, so enjoy losing some wealth, brother. The McMillan Group.
That was it. That was the line. Thank you. Thank you for, clarifying that. That was the line. And so again, back to that question. Did this OnlyFans have the same wage?
No. No. So the McMillan Group, always a pleasure to have you here, says, good morning, America. It's all about football. They will quickly forget what Shannon did. He is a megastar. There is no stopping him. And then she's in the house. Dr. Tachi says, "Good day, all." So yes, let's do a reset. We're at the top of the hour. We are with our good friend Emma Ansah and PR extraordinaire, PR extraordinaire, and here for her monthly visit. And Emma's with us on the last Monday of each month. So if you missed it, check it out. If you check the replay out, we had Lori Beezer, who is the executive director of the Toronto Pan African Film Festival, on about 45 minutes ago. So I encourage you to check that out, and if you can, support it any way you can. And for the last little bit, we were talking about, what is Shannon Sharpe's future? Looking forward, and I know Ray is here. Ray has his takes already. Dr. Tachi, who is all about media with her show Media Scope, all the best in media, tech, and pop culture. And again, big thank you, Dr. Tachi, inviting me to be part of a panel last Friday evening talking about our brother, Malcolm Jamal Warner. So thank you. It was a great conversation. Yes. So if you have any comments, any takes, please bring them to the digital comment section. All right. Fitness IQ Cam says most folks separate the person from their talent.
Well, I really hope for his sake that's the case. But, when you think about people like, I don't know, R. Kelly, for example, a lot of people said, I will never listen to his music again. And a lot of, people were throwing out their CDs and stuff like that. So I hope that's not the case with him. I really do. I just feel like ESPN, though, I don't
Money,
know.
money. Different Cam goes, for your him. Oh, that's so good. Fitness IQ Cam bringing in her Kingstonian. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I feel it would. I don't know what they're going to do, ESPN, but nothing would surprise me. Whether they and lots of people have jumped in here. So folks, let's get those comments in. Like this and make some comments here. Nothing. It wouldn't surprise me if they took him back or they said we don't want to deal with him. I think he'll be on some other network. Like and as Ray McMillan said, or not Ray, Tim Frey said, he may be on a digital platform that's fairly big. Someone will take him because he brings eyeballs, which brings dollars.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said in the beginning, he'll be fine.
Oh,
And there will always be a network that will look beyond the scandal. And like you said, look at numbers, look at money, right? And you're just looking at his own podcast and what he brings to the table. I think somebody will for sure. I just don't know whether it's ESPN,
okay.
but somebody will.
Fitness IQ Cam says, my rule is if you harm your community, you are banned from me. So she's on the extreme saying, I'm done. Right? And she also says, but what Shannon did is nasty work. So
it really is dirty work. It is.
So did, and I think on top of it too, I'd love to get, you have expressed it, I'd love to get especially other Black women's takes on Shannon Sharpe. That'd be crazy. Oh, yeah, there we go. Fitness IQ Cam says she could be your daughter or your granddaughter.
That's why I said in the beginning, like or earlier on, is he as a 55-year-old Black man needs to look at why was that the appeal. He has kids.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So, sometimes you got to think about that. What if it, was his son, for example? What would he advise his son to do in a situation like that?
Very, very good point. Very, very good point. And, it will be interesting to see not only what happens with him post this, but is this one of those news cycle stories that, it won't have much impact on many of us? Oh, he's just another one, bang. What the long-term effects, especially something out in the media as this has been, what sort of potential long-term effects? Because I don't know if there's always scandals going on, but especially when it comes to Black men, there's always that piece where this, and you know, people will question what the impression of Black men is out there in the media, and many people who I speak to say, well, the media just thinks of Black men either entertainers or hoodlums, basically, right? And when I say entertainers, I not only mean people who sing on stage or who dance, but also athletes. Because basically, this is just me, athletes are entertainers. You're getting paid to perform. How do incidences like Shannon Sharpe impact the impression of Black men by the general populace? Not just Blacks, but the general populace. Fitness IQ says, or maybe just learn discipline with your big head, not the one you know where. Emma, I've rambled for a few moments. Anything you're wanting to add on for any of the stuff I've shared, or any of the knowledge bombs that Fitness IQ has been dropping that you've been enjoying?
First of all, I'm loving Fitness IQ. Okay, I'm loving Fitness IQ. What was your last question?
No, well, not so much question, but just some of the things I've been sharing over the last few moments, or comments wise. Any takes, like for example, here's Hayden Morrison saying, shouldn't he have thought about the impact it would have on his children?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, his children aren't young, so it's not something that he can shield them from. Well, they're young, but what I mean is they're not like toddlers or where you can shield this kind of information and this kind of stuff. We all know when something is on the internet, it stays there. So, I just feel like somebody like him who's is a grown adult with a parent needs to take those extra couple of minutes to think about what you stand to lose. That's the first thing, right? And then you have to think about your family, your children. They have to be in this world, and people aren't kind. So who knows what they're going through and having to deal with as a result of his actions. So for me personally, when you say what does that mean for Black people in entertainment and things like that. And I mean, the broad scope of things is there going to be a stereotype? Absolutely. Is there going to be a stigma? Absolutely. And to the ones who still engage in this kind of lifestyle, every person has their day, is what I will say. I won't use the word that really falls in that category, but it's just going to continue to happen. It will continue to happen because people like this woman, who I refuse to even say her name to give it any life, but people like her will embolden other people like her to do the same things. And then you have people who lie. There are some people who will straight up lie, to just get what it is that they want. So I just think when it comes to Black men, even because women, there are women that do it too. You just can't. We're not afforded that same luxury. Let's just put it that way. And I say it even in my journalism. We're just, our reality is not the same as other races of people. So we have to move in a way where our integrity, our work ethic, everything has to be double, triple what any other counterpart is. And we have to do our best to be a representative when we leave our home and go to our jobs, to be a representative of the entire community. Because unfortunately, Dr. Vibe may suffer now as a result of something Shannon Sharpe did, and you have nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So it's like, we have to be super cautious and careful about who we lay down with, who we engage with, how we communicate with these people, all of those things.
It's interesting. People don't remember this now, but a few years ago, Jonathan Major, right?
Oh, I didn't forget.
Yeah, but
and you know what? You know who else hasn't forgotten? Because I don't know if anybody went and saw Magazine Dreams, that movie. What his act, beyond sensational. But is anybody talking about that movie? Has anybody re-signed him back? All the people that dropped him, has anybody said, you know what, Jonathan, we're going to take you back now. We're giving. It's not happening. Where's the work?
Yeah, Jonathan Majors a few years ago. Does anyone remember that incident? Does anyone remember that? All right. Tim Frey says, keep in mind there are two people in this situation. Let's not forget this. Any thoughts on that take?
I agree that there are two people, but unfortunately, only one person is really suffering, I guess, or getting the backlash. She's retired and she's gone off with her 20 odd million.
I'm very curious what was the agreement signed. I wonder if I'm almost sure there has to be a non-disclosure agreement.
I think so too. I think, probably with that 23 million, I guess what they're saying it is, she probably can never speak again on this. But that's her. Are there others?
Fitness, so
The domino effect.
yeah. Fitness IQ says thank you, Emma. So I guess you have a new fan. And Fitness IQ goes, she will probably have a master class.
Man, I'm telling you, she can retire, and you know what? Who knows if there's no non-disclosure, or she's not been told that, or maybe it's set out in such a way where you can't talk about this again, or you can't go on social media or whatever. She may get a book deal. Who knows what's in there? What's the clause that she may be able to get out of with her attorneys? You know what I mean? And next thing you know, she's on I don't know, The View or something. You're like,
oh my gosh.
Could you imagine?
I can imagine it.
That's the sad part. I can too.
Yeah.
And then she'll come looking so good, wearing a business suit and just, all clean cut and, talking about her story and saying, this is for all the young ladies in the world that, oh, you know what? I don't even want to speak it into existence.
All right. So Fitness IQ Cam says, but sorry, I'm not faulting she in this. She was 18.
This is why I say, what is a grown man? What did you expect to have in common with this person? How do you expect somebody like that to exercise discretion and, privacy? Really? Come on. I guess maybe he thought because she's young that maybe she's naive and gullible and he doesn't have to worry, when people are that young. But these young people, these millennials and these Gen Zers and all those other people are beyond cunning. Okay? Do not sleep on them. And I guess he's learned that now.
Fitness IQ is on fire. She says, nah, the ladies on The View will rip her to shreds. They would, but it would make great television.
I think Whoopi would be the one. Whoopi and maybe Sunny would be the one that would really, go. I was just thinking of one of those panel type, or even not even that. Maybe it's a, what's her name? Like a Katie Couric or the ones who have had a show, but then they come out for these special, these special edition ones where they'll have that conversation.
Yeah.
I can totally see her sitting down on one of those, or the Today. What's the one with George Bush's daughter, Jenna Bush? One of those. Good.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I can totally see her doing it and peddling her book. And maybe she'll do it in such a way where she's not necessarily talking about him, but she's talking about her experience. It's kind of like what Allison Holker did with Twitch, where she's like, I'm talking about my experience with Twitch unaliving himself and how it, finding a way around talking about it without talking about it is what I mean.
All right. Fitness IQ is driving the conversation. He says, why, don't add us millennials to this chick. She goes, millennials are far different from these Gen Z, especially us in the late 30s, early 40s.
My bad, Fitness
IQ. That's hilarious. So Fitness IQ Camp is in on this conversation. She is driving. Where are the other people here? because there's a lot of you in the room today. So just an update, the top contributors today so far on the YouTube channel: Tim Frey, Hayden Morrison, and Fitness IQ Cam. Also Ray McMillan and others, but those are the top three. You three, keep it going, but other people, catch up. Catch up. There are a lot of you watching. Okay, Hayden says, at 18 years old, the person swindled a 55-year-old man out of, well, it wasn't 50 million. It's speculates around 20 to 23 million dollars.
But she was suing for 50 million.
She was, and she was. So,
And it's just that's the killing part, is an 18-year-old, somebody that's old enough to be his child.
take him down.
Honestly, I truly hope he's learned from this. I truly hope. It's like Jamie Foxx, who says, I'm no longer going to be dating snow bunnies. I'm done with the snow bunny. And then just last week, he was seen out with a snow bunny. So it's like, do you learn? No. And I know from just talking to a lot of brothers that I know that have dated, outside of their race and have moved back to the Black queen, and they say things like, I used to always think, okay, this one is different, this one's different, and they would go with another one, and they keep saying, well, this one is not like the other one. Okay, I'm going to try this one, but she really is different. And then they would experience the same thing. So it's just a matter of that person has to decide when they've had enough. Okay, they do. And then I just wonder, do Black women, and this is a question I'm putting out to our viewers, and will a Black woman take a chance on him now at this point? Would they want to be involved with him?
Oh, good question. Good.
Yeah.
No, you say, I'm not saying, I'm just saying that line, right? So, Fitness IQ, Cam says, so you say I'm an idiot. or thinking with your blank. But that is a really good question to our Black queens out there. Would you date Shannon Sharpe after all, or anyone who, would you date, if we have any Black queens out there, either live on the replay? That would be a very good question. So, Emma, I know you're spoken for, but if Mr. Sharpe approached you and said, would you like to go out on a date, what would you say to him?
You know something? My initial response is heck no. But if he asked me to go on a date, I would go on a date with him. Okay. And I would really have this conversation. And I'll be like, look, from one Black person to another, let's talk about this. Let's have this conversation. I really want to understand where you're coming from and why, you elected to engage in this kind of relations. I would want to have that conversation with him while we broke bread together, because I really am curious to understand. And like I was saying, I've had these conversations with Black men a lot. I've even had live streams with Black men who are either with a white woman or were with a white woman, and I asked those questions. So I would go on a date with him. I would, and I would want to understand, and then based on that date, would determine whether or not there would be a second date. But I would agree to at least one date. I would. But as far as a relationship, doubtful.
All right. I'd be very curious if you went on a date and you asked him to explain some of that, how long that date would last.
Well, you know what? I would say if he was interested enough in, me or whatever Black woman he chooses to go on a date with, then it's like when you go on a date these days, I mean, I'm an old dog, so I do things very antiquated.
Don't call yourself that, please.
Well, you know what I mean.
All right.
So
gotcha.
I do think I'm more of an antiquated, way of hoarding, if you will. But I ask those questions when I'm on a date,
Okay.
or when I'm getting to know somebody. I like to find out what their background is, why they did things they did, why they lived that kind of life. So to me, it wouldn't be any different than the way I would ask if I was on a date with somebody else, you know. So I think in general, we've kind of abandoned that way of dating now. I mean, people just want to have Netflix and chill, and nobody really wants to get to know anybody anymore, ask those important questions. So it wouldn't be any different than what I would do regularly. I just don't know what it's like now out there. Like I said, I've been far removed from this life. So
Okay. So Hayden Morrison says it could be some sort of addiction. Could be. Could be. Fitness IQ Cam says LMAO. She says, I'm too old for him. Oh my gosh. Maybe the next time we should have Emma and Fitness IQ Cam on together and I just sit back in the audience. They would run things crazy. Fitness IQ Cam says yes, LMFAO. I
I
was thinking,
probably
hey, Dr. Vibe, not even 5 minutes. And she goes, personally, I wouldn't date him because of the age gap. There you go, Emma.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know that he would. Maybe if he wanted to really, kind of like what Jonathan Majors did, like after what he went through with that woman, he got into a relationship with a black woman who's, closer to his demographic, or is she even a little older than him? I think. So maybe he would be willing to come to the other side now. Come on back home, be with somebody that's in his demographic, somebody that, as he said, is matching his wage and, has it going on. Maybe he will find a way to clean up his image by doing that and like genuinely doing that. Who knows? So I would go on at least one date with him. I would.
And I think with Jonathan Majors, did he not marry that lady? Did they get married?
Yeah, they're married and they seem to be very happy. And from what I saw in the tabloids and things like that, they were saying that a lot of her friends and people that she was close to, I'm talking about Megan Good, were telling her, don't do it. What are you doing with this man? And that's something that we can probably expect that will happen if Shannon Sharpe was to get involved with a black woman. Maybe her friends and family members would be like, "What are you doing? Don't do this," But I'm of the mindset that said that everybody deserves a second chance. It's what you do with that second chance. If you're knocked down, it's what you do when you get up. So
Hmm.
I would be willing to have that date.
Yeah, but okay. So here's something because now when he was with Fox, there were allegations of assault. I think there was an allegation of assault to one of the cast member or the crew members of the show that he was on then called Undisputed. There was allegations of his aggressions with fellow. So it sounds like this incident is not the only one in the history. This may be the most serious one that we know of, but there are a lot of allegations along the road that have been you go, you know, mm.
Just like with Jonathan Majors, there were a lot of allegations. That's why a lot of people feel like that marriage is a publicity stunt. But yeah, there's a lot of allegations, and like I said, it could be a domino effect. Somebody else may come out strong with a Gloria Allred as a lawyer, and come for him. Who knows? I don't know that it's over.
I don't think it is either. And your number one fan club member says, I just think this: if you genuinely like all races, cool, but don't bash black queens because you assume one race is more superior.
And that's what a lot of black men do. I covered a story with a black man who was asking another black man, why do you date only white women? And every time he started to respond, he led with because black. And he was like, no, don't I'm not asking, leave Black women out of it. You have chosen to date the white woman. So just talk about why. And he was leading with because Black women. And it's like, no, no, no. Do you see what you're doing here? So it's like, don't trash us. Just talk about, because they're more understanding, because they love me better. Like, just talk, keep it on merit, right? So I always say, why do you have to trash us? If you made your decision, you made your decision, and that's your right. But don't gaslight.
Mm, interesting, interesting, interesting. Huh. What does this say about the amount of attention that we put on celebrity?
Like I was saying before, this happens every day, all day, I'm sure, all over the world with people that we don't know. It's just that when you're a celebrity, it travels a lot faster. Even a lie, we already know in general, a lie can travel faster than anything in light speed, right? And when you're a celebrity, you couple that, and it just becomes a bigger deal. I think sometimes we have to look at the story. And I know for me personally, if a story hits and it's breaking news, I tend to sit on it for a while and just watch it unfold before I decide whether or not I'm even going to cover it. Right. So sometimes it's good to just let things simmer and let it play out, and let's see in the end what happens. Like, if I chose not to talk about Shannon Sharpe until now, then at the end of the day, it's settled. This woman has retired from OnlyFans, and we can have this conversation as opposed to focusing on the whole scandal, right? So I think it just depends on the kind of sensationalism you like to engage in. But everybody wants to jump on that story. That's what's in the internet streets. That's what everybody's talking about. You turned on YouTube, every podcaster was jumping on it, and everybody had a different take. So, there was an audience for it for sure. I tend to like to let things simmer. Yeah. So I think it depends. There are a lot of podcasters that are out here, and that's their thing,
Yes,
is covering that breaking story and, what's hot, as they call it, hot topics, right?
yes,
So, and it
yes.
also depends on your platform. I mean, I know for me, it's about anti-Black racism. So when I'm looking at that, it's like, is that something I want to talk about? Unless I can hook it somehow to anti-Black racism, like, she called him the N-word or something. Then it's like, okay, now I can angle it differently, so it really depends. It's subjective.
All right. All right. As we start winding it down, because Emma has nothing to do. And what are you up to for the rest of the day? How many shows you taping today?
Well, I already taped 15 yesterday. So
Oh
today,
gosh, how
yeah,
many?
15, yeah. Like I said, I mean, when it comes to our people and our community, and the news never sleeps. The internet has no chill, okay? It's nonstop. So for today, I'm going to just be researching, just gearing up for the next set, because, it never stops. And then, of course, doing more work for the festival, connecting with more people. And then, we have our weekly journalist meeting today. So that's about it for me. And then I'm just going to chill and enjoy the rest of my day, because I do love to take some time for me.
Please do that. But now people think I do a lot of shows. You did 15 yesterday?
That's 15 reports, yes, because I work on 3 platforms. So, I do a set for African Diaspora News Channel, and then I do a set for Emancipation Media, and then I do a set for the Daily Scrum News. So, I'm writing articles, I'm
Okay,
filming. Yeah.
right. Okay. Producer Matt, please let's get Emma's contact information on the screen because anyone who does 15 of things in 15 of the same basic thing in one day has to be commended because it is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, you see the 10 minutes, clip go up, but People don't realize the work that's
Exactly.
a
Exactly.
lot of work. It's a lot of work. It is, especially when you, like we talk about, move with integrity. It's not, stuff where we're putting together stuff that's not factual, and so you've got to do the work. You got to put in the work.
So, Office of Tim Frey says, how can we get a hold of Emma? That's why I had a feeling. That's why we put her contact information up on the screen. So you have it. And Tim, if you need it, you can also contact me directly. That is no problem. So we found out what you do. So any long-term projects that you're working on that we should know about, other than the festival and all the other stuff you're doing? Any other things you're working on right now?
No, actually not right now. I mean, the festival is really taking up a lot of
Sure.
my time. I will be at TIFF as well.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
in September. I do have a press pass, so I do attend all of the events, and I do some interviews with, some of the, movie filmmakers and stuff like that. So that will be a week of work, but again, it's good work. Just getting some content and connecting with the film life, which I really love. I love that space. I love that creative space. I think it's great. And it's, the antithesis of what I do on a regular basis, but it's also something else that I'm passionate about. So, yes, I'll be at TIFF. And I believe we have an off TIFF event that I'll be working on as well with African Women Acting, which is another organization I work with. And I'm the manager of PR and communications. So we are working on an off TIFF event, which will be exciting. And, probably by the next time I come on, I'll have more information about that. So I can share that information.
Yes.
So that long term, that's the only thing right now. There is something else going on, but I can't talk about it yet. But hopefully by the time I come back, which is the next fourth Monday, I might be able to talk about it. It's a very, very exciting project that I've been involved in. So stay tuned for that.
Nice. Well, hopefully next time on you'll be, and we're on the Dr. Vibe Show working on something, myself and producer Matt, that we're speaking by the next time you're on, you're gonna go, what? So we're working on, we're diligently working on bringing something new for the Dr. Vibe Show family, Morning Vibe. This will be something that'll be available on all the shows that I'm hosting. It'll be just say it's an interesting engagement tool. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Just looking forward to it. So before we call it a day, as always, if you want to okay, let's do this thing. Let's do it this way. Let's go to this. Please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Follow the the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com or click on the link that's in the Discord. And I believe I shared all this stuff out on in the comment sections on everyone who's watching live or the replay. Advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm on. Please email me. Also on YouTube today, the top 3 people putting in comments were, well, what a guess who's number 1. Who wants to guess who was number 1? I don't think that's too much of a guess. Fitness IQ Cam was number 1, Tim Frey, and then there we go. There we go. Love it. Love it. They were our top 3 contributors. Thank you so much. Then also, if you want to get a hold of Ryan Oneil Knight, Ryan Oneil Knight is RyanOneilKnight.com. That's Knight with a KN.com. Also, LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight. Instagram at Ryan.Knight99. Email address, workwithme at RyanOneilKnight.com. If you got to get a hold of, okay, we already put Emma's stuff. I said we could put up again, but it's already out there. All right, website with me, the drvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok, The Dr. Vibe Show. Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show. X, drvibeshow. And email, I already said the email address. You can catch me on Substack at Blue Sky, drvibe.bsky.social. We got one more comment in here, so I want to make sure we get to it. And she goes, me. So Fitness IQ is happy because she was a #1 contributor on the YouTube side to say, of course you were. I've got to work on getting you and Emma on together. I think that would be a show.
That would be fun. Let's go.
You see, she said, let's go. Let's make it happen, Fitness IQ Cam. So are you up for making that happen? I'm up for it. And then finally, you can watch replays of the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and the Afro Caribbean Business Network on YouTube, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. How do we close it out? As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. And a big shout out to, over the past weekend, to Tristan Barracks, who did a screening of his film Sugar Dumpling yesterday. So it looks like it went really well. And also shout out to Troy Crossfield, who on Saturday had the 10-year anniversary of Iron Sharpened Iron. Gentlemen, wonderful stuff you are doing. Keep it going. Keep it going. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll see you on. Oh, by the way, on Friday, Wayne Harris, because I got up this one going, wow, the first Friday in August is this Friday. So first Financial Fridays with Wayne Harris this Friday. Make sure you check it out. Follow us everywhere. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good. Peace.
Bye, everyone.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.